Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about races. So let's get into it. So the question in question was pretty much, Frederick, I wanted a raise. My boss said no, and then I threatened to leave the company, and then he said yes. Should I take the money? So the short answer is maybe. Probably no, but maybe. So the reason why I say this is because if your manager or your boss or whoever has been kind of strong-armed into giving you a raise because you're about to leave, there are two scenarios that can, in my mind, factor in here. One scenario is that he or she is very unhappy with you right now, because basically what you have done is that you have shown that you lack a commitment to the company, and you've shown that money is more important to you than working for that company. And that may or may be something that isn't all that popular, that it shows lack of commitment, if you will. Go figure. The other way of seeing it is that this person kind of calculated that you weren't serious. It's just part of their games that they play, where they said no to you because they didn't think that you were actually going to quit. And now that you were actually going to quit, they offered you that sum of money because you actually seemed to be serious about this whole thing. And that, in my world, leads to another sort of problem, because then, if you think about that, that pretty much means that this person is, well, at least in my opinion, it doesn't seem like they have your best interests at heart here. It's a reaction type of thing. They're basically offering you more money because it's in some fashion inconveniencing them, or it's a threat to their company or something like that. But if you had actually had a manager or a boss who treated you like a human being and actually understood the value of the work that you were doing, then you wouldn't have had to threaten to quit. Because, if the plan was all along to just to actually give you that raise, then why wait until you decided to try to leave? Why offer it then? If that makes sense, right? So to me, this sounds like a classic example of one of those people that I wouldn't want to work for, because either they're very calculating and manipulative, or you have just disappointed them in some fashion, that you have pretty much caused a situation where they feel as if now you are doing the same sort of work, they pay you pretty much more for doing the thing that you did yesterday. And hopefully, this is just me saying this because there is one positive thing that could be going on here as well, but hopefully they are not bitter about that, and they actually realize that maybe you actually deserve this sort of thing. But it kind of leans towards no, since you had to threaten to leave in order to get this. So odds are that they are not that happy about this. But it could have been, as I said, it could have been that they just didn't think that you were serious and they didn't want to deal with it. I'm saying it's unlikely, but it is possible. And now they simply want to continue as is, right? But then I want you to ask yourself this question: is the fact that you wanted to leave just down to that you didn't get the raise? Are you happy just in general at this place of work, or did you actually decide that, all right, so if I'm not going to get a raise, I'm just going to quit? Because if it's just down to the money, I will understand. I understand that, of course, but usually, at least in my experience, when someone wants to go as far as to say that I'm going to quit, it's not only because they're unhappy with the salary. Sometimes that is absolutely the case. It's usually very common in either very young people who pretty much just, at least in the beginning of things, the money is that's the only thing they care about, because in their world, that's the only thing that matters. And the second time is when a developer becomes a parent. That's also very common, that then they have this idea that, oh, now I have someone else to take care of, I have children and so forth, and therefore I need to raise my salary to be able to afford all the things that they need. These are usually the times. But it's not that often that people solely are unhappy, go to the point where they actually want to quit the job just because of the money. So I would say that given the information that you have given me, which is fairly limited, I would say don't take the money. Or I would say that unless it's actually so much more that you can't get that sort of salary somewhere else, then I wouldn't do this. It's there are too many things. Well, once again, it comes down to your perception of the situation. If you can look the manager, if you can truly look your boss in the eye and really feel, you have to have some social skills now and have a bit of empathy and really feel, do you feel okay with this? Do they feel okay with this? If there is no hard feelings and you truly feel okay with this, then sure, take the money and stay if you enjoy that place of work. But if you feel any discomfort or anything like that, I highly suggest that you look for another job, because that sensation is what you're feeling is either that you are actually a little bit unhappy about other things, or resentment from them. Pretty much the relationship has been more or less poisoned. It's actually funny because I have another video about this exact thing from the perspective of the manager, and I've stated to them that if you have an employee who threatens to leave, let them leave. Unless you are very, very dependent on them, just let them leave, because it's the same sort of song and dance. The relationship has been poisoned. So unless both parties truly can say that there are no hard feelings and everything is just peachy, right? Just break up. Like, just do that, because you've already shown that there are things that are more important to you than the mutual benefit of the two in this pair. So what I want you to take away from this is that unless you feel that this is truly an okay situation, I would leave. Because once you have let that cat out of the bag, where you have shown very clearly that you are willing to leave this company for more money somewhere else or benefit somewhere else, or you're unhappy with your situation, usually one of two things happen. Either when you're getting offered more money and so forth, either you're getting offered more money because the company needs to, but like your manager and your boss and so forth, they're actually unhappy with this situation. They feel a lack of commitment from you, and they feel like they kind of lost out now, where they actually pay you more than what they did in the past, and they're still getting the same value out of you. So that's one thing that can happen. The other thing that can happen is that this person is a bit of a manipulator. Because otherwise they wouldn't, if you are worth the salary and they were willing to pay the salary all along, they would have paid you when you had that discussion. Usually you would have had a discussion, like they wouldn't have just said no to you. So it's up to you to figure out what type of person you're dealing with and act accordingly. Have a great day.